Thank you for joining us. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us to celebrate 25 years of raising heroes in Jamaica. My name is Kamika Clark, and I'm the agency director right here in Jamaica, and I'm proud to have been a beneficiary of an education savings plan and to be working with our dedicated team to bring you the solution to the challenges of the cost of funding your children's post-secondary education. This 5-part web series is our special gift to you in honor of our 25th anniversary, and it's designed to help us learn from the journeys of 5 of our outstanding beneficiaries, our young heroes, and gain some insight from experts as to how we as parents can raise the next generation of heroes. I've personally learned so much already from the guests in our first 3 episodes, and I really encourage you to catch up on Facebook or our YouTube channel, which we have, those episodes have really stimulated some powerful conversations in our home already, and hopefully some big changes as well. Make sure that you click on the link in the comments to add our free downloadable guide of resources. So we want you to be able to take away something of value and to share it with your networks. Part 1 has some free learning tools, and part 2 will include great resources and tips from all of our experts. Also, we do have a special gift for those of you in the audience tonight. So keep an eye out during the program for the special code to enter a draw to win this Samsung tablet. The links will be in the comments, and just look out for that code. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to make working from home work with little ones in the mix. I'm really looking forward to our conversation with Lecia-Gaye Taylor, mother and lawyer. And at the core of our success, I should say as well, is a team of committed sales representatives. They work hard to do the best for their subscribers throughout the series, and we will be sharing with you memorable moments from some of those longest serving team members. So we'll start off with a moment from one of our sales representatives, Simone Griffiths, who's a member of our team.
My most memorable moment as a sales representative with Heritage is actually helping a subscriber who was experiencing some difficult life situations at the time and wanted to terminate her plan. After we met, I was able to put forward my best recommendation towards saving her plan. And I'm happy to say that 6 years later, she's continuing to save with the peace of mind that she'll be able to afford her daughter's post-secondary education. This has been a really rewarding and fulfilling experience for me.
Thank you so much, Simone. And we're so glad to have you as a part of our team. I'm really excited to get to know one of our outstanding beneficiaries, to get to know him a little bit better, actually. We spoke on the phone a few weeks ago, and he's so multi-talented: composer, producer, arranger, orchestrator of a variety of genres of music. Jon-Joseph studied at the University of the West Indies, where he attained a bachelor's degree in business management. And as an extracurricular activity, he joined the UWI Pop Society, one of the largest music groups on campus, where he took on the role of musical director. John, along with one of his mentors, Peter Ashburn, founded the University Classical and Jazz Ensemble. Mr. Ashburn then hired Jon-Joseph to be the assistant musical director for Digicel Rising Stars. After completing his bachelor's degree, John decided to focus on his passion, music. He furthered his music production studies at Full Sail University, where he graduated valedictorian of his class. He then specialized in composing for films, TV, and video games at Berklee College of Music, where he graduated magna cum laude with a master's degree. John's journey has been quite an interesting one, and we can't wait to hear just how he moved from a major in business to such a prolific career in music. But before we jump into the interview, I thought it would be great for us to check out a little clip of John's work so you can get a sense of his incredible talent and creativity.
¿Cree que volverá? Señorita Alicia. Pídemelo y me quedaré.
Sabes que no puedo.
Creí que ya hacías lo que debías. Si no lo que querías.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, John. Thank you so much for being here. And really, this is so, you know, the music is just so emotive. And I have to say, the first version you sent to us didn't even have any sound.
Oh, wow.
And I'm struck by watching this again with the music, the impact that music makes in the visuals and then what we take away from a cinematic experience. So kudos to you and those like you who create magic every day.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to just ask a really quick side question to say, how do you, how would you figure out where to kind of plug in and make something rise and fall? Like, where does that come from in you?
I think it comes from watching a lot of other movies and studying different scores and see other people's approach so that you can figure out instead of reinventing the wheel, you know. But it's very intuitive. It's yeah, watching a movie, sometimes you can tell when something bad is going to happen, like the anticipation of it. And sometimes you can tell when something beautiful is going to happen, like in this scene. So it's just a combination of experience and just allowing your music to speak or to speak what your heart is trying to say, you know. A cliche, cheesy line, but it's the truth.
That's true. I guess, yeah. Wow. Well, but you've shared that music has always been your passion, but I'm curious to know what prompted you to start studying music. Business rather than focusing solely on music at the outset.
Yeah, well, yeah, to start studying business, right? At the time, I was a bit uninformed of the choices that I had in regard to music. And, you know, living in Jamaica at the time, it really didn't help. And what I mean is the common path for someone in the music industry in Jamaica is playing reggae or dancehall, which nothing is wrong with. Nothing is wrong with, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it wasn't enough to convince my parents that I'd be able to make a living from it, you know. So my parents was actually the ones who prompted me to do a traditional degree or to get a traditional degree in management. So it was really for the sense of job security, which is a completely other debate. But my mom would always tell me that education is never wasted. So why not? And if I do pursue music after, then I would still have the educational experiences as well as the other soft skills gained from having a bachelor's degree in business management. And there's the fact that having a degree like that in business will complement any entrepreneurial venture, you know, which is essentially what my career is. So my parents are the ones who really prompt me to start off my life journey with the advantage of studying business before anything else.
Right. And you've got a really solid base, which is transferable in any industry. So that makes a lot of sense. They weren't wrong, it sounds like.
No, they weren't wrong.
So how did you then make the shift into music?
Well, while studying at UWI, I was still playing the keyboards. And as you mentioned, I was a part of the UWI Pop Society and the classical and jazz ensemble. And I would play at church, different events on and off campus, any chance I got. So I was, you know, privileged to meet a lot of different people in the industry, like mentors and friends who were a constant motivation. And, you know, before I knew it, I was pursuing music full time. I don't know when it started, but certainly as my life progressed, I was immersing myself more and more into the music. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I can see you have a big fan club out there. It's great to know you've got a circle of support. I can see that your passion and natural talent for music sort of was developed, as you say, through your time at UWI and Berkeley. But what role did having a heritage plan, I have to ask about heritage, what role did that play in you being able to pursue these courses?
Can my answer be a big one?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, you know, actually, I remember when I was younger, I actually remember walking into the office with my mom, and we collected like a physical check. I think I had to sign something or something. I don't remember, but it was for the tuition. And I was definitely fortunate because, as I said, you know, many times the ability to pursue a career change would be extremely difficult, if at all possible, if you have an obligation, a financial obligation, like student loans. So, I mean, student loan crisis is just overwhelming. So the quick and obvious answer would be having options, to have options. That's what you guys gave me, the options of pursuing my career. You know, yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's fantastic. And, you know, we helped to make it happen, but it was really your parents who laid the foundation, part of your village, right?
Yeah.
And it's clear from the range of industries, you know, in looking at your repertoire, you haven't limited yourself to, you know, something beautiful like conducting an orchestra. You're doing musical scores and video games, some really cool video games. But it's clear that you don't believe in limiting yourself. How do you think this mindset has contributed to your success?
Well, this is actually what I believe. I think that the key to not limiting yourself oftentimes is seated predominantly in the acknowledgement that you do have limitations. So because of that awareness of your limitations, it leads to the question, how can I, instead of dwelling on the thought that I should have been able to, which leads to depression, and which is a huge issue for entrepreneurs, especially in the creative field. So the mindset to have, I believe, is not about believing that you can do everything, but or even that you have limitations. You don't have limitations, sorry, but it's able to see your limitations and putting things in place that will help you to succeed in spite of those limitations. Like, I read a book recently, well, actually a few years back, and I think it's called Millionaire Success Habits or something like that. Okay. And it stated that the common theme behind a successful business and successful people is to focus on the your strengths, and outsource your weaknesses. So I think that can be applied to us. It can be applied to us, where we should focus on our strengths, seek out help for our limitations. For example, I have a lawyer who would look over my contracts because I didn't study law. So outsourcing my weaknesses and my limitations and not allowing that wall to stop me from going where I want to go, you know, allows me to operate optimally in the industry, which, you know, allows me to do all the things I want to do that are music, and say yes to anything that might interest me, and try new things in the industry that I might enjoy. So I know it sounds sort of paradoxical or counterintuitive, but I do think we have limitations, but we can overcome those limitations through help from others.
Right. And it sounds like you're open to saying yes to different things. You know, when I spoke to you, you said you'd just come back from Spain and you were in the studio with Joe. And I have to say, I'm a big fan. Like it just seems like polar opposites, that you're able to do so much, having chosen what some might think is a very boxed in field.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, I do believe that saying yes is very important, especially in the beginning parts of your career. I believe this was who Warren Buffett, who says, you know, when you're just starting, you should always say yes. Then when you become successful, you should always say no. So before I can put myself into the specific niche, I think I think it's very important to open yourself up to any opportunities, because you don't know where the next trend will come from, and just being aware is just awesome, and open-minded is just awesome.
And open. Wow, being open is great.
Yeah.
And I mentioned your fan club earlier. I'm thinking about the support that we as parents can provide in helping to helping you to find your path. How would you say the support from your parents and even your mentor, Peter Ashburn, helped to shape who you are today?
Well, yes, I believe every instance of our experiences have contributed to who we are today. And I have learned so much in my life from my parents, especially just through observation and seeing how they parent me and my brother Daniel, just how they treat each other and see how they treat everyone around them, as well as how they balance their lives. It has helped me tremendously. You know, there are a handful of people in the world who work as hard as my father does, and that's what I believe. And a very, very small amount of, and that really gives me the extra push whenever I'm tired. And my mom is very emotionally intelligent, is a new coin, So they both know how to be a good leader. I also read a book recently by Orrin Wood, I think it's Orrin Woodward, and I think it's called Leadership. And it says that the average leader raises the bar on themselves. Good leaders raises the bar for others, but great leader inspire others to raise the bar for themselves.
Okay.
And that's what I think of when I think about my parents and how they operate in their business and just in their everyday life. They inspire people to have a spirit of excellence. So the support from my parents is not just financial, but just to be able to observe how they are really impacted who I am today. And even my mentor, one of my mentors, a good friend of mine, Peter Ashburn, I coined a term. I'm no author, but I coined a term for myself, and I called it the 3 E's of excellence.
Okay.
And it's just exposure, enlightenment, and encouragement. And I believe any mentor should just follow these 3 E's. And for example, Peter Ashburn exposed me to many different genres of music which I wasn't really paying attention to before.
Okay.
And they centered toward classical and jazz. So the enlightenment came after the exposure, which, practice and listening. And then, of course, he was a constant encouragement. Just the fact that he trusted me to be in charge of the ensemble at UWI and, Digital Rising Star, that alone was the encouragement.
A big deal. Yeah. So, John, we're seeing so much more of an interest and emphasis being placed on careers in the arts now, which has been a big change from previous generations where, children were really encouraged to pursue medicine or law. What words of encouragement would you share with budding artistic talents who might be struggling to find their footing?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something that I stumbled across, and it might seem like common sense, but I think researching just goes a long way. And when you're in the dark about something, it can be very, very fearful. You can be very scared. And so a great tip would be to reverse engineer your career. So write down where you want to be 5 years from now, and then try to figure out what's the preceding step, what has to be true for that to happen. And then you write that down, and then you do the same thing. What has to happen for that to be true, you write that down until you get to where you are today. And so a lot of research, writing down your goals, make a plan. Having a written plan is just gives you peace of mind. As the saying goes, a dream without a plan is just a wish. So if you have a dream, make the plan, and then the plan should have a step towards that goal, and you'll be surprised how much peace that brings to your mind.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you talk about goals and planning as it relates to the arts. And I think people would just say, oh, maybe it doesn't apply there, but I'm glad to hear you say you have to have that vision and put the pieces in place to make it a reality. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Wow. John, I really want to thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself tonight. I hope a certain young person in my life was listening, because I've been encouraging to do some of those things.
Okay.
And just to say, we have a little token of appreciation for you
Oh,
as
wow.
well. This is
That's
a piece by Everard Powell, and I hope you'll display it whenever you get a chance to get it, as one of our outstanding beneficiaries. We'll deliver it to your parents in the weeks to come so they can keep it safely until you can come home. Okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and for inviting us into your studio. We really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Before we move into our next item, let's hear from Patricia Duncan Beckford, which is a member of our administrative team and long-serving team members.
My best moment is with a recent subscriber who I've been dealing with for the past 3 years. She has finally gotten to her last scholarship, and we had a good conversation, and she sent me an email afterwards saying that she really appreciated my help all these years, and she's really going to miss me and miss our conversations. So I found that it felt good, yeah.
It really does feel good. Thank you, Patricia. And I have to say, we have the blessing of being able to watch children grow up, you know, from John all the way through, and being able to just be a part of families' lives. It really is a gift. And thank you for inviting us into your lives. For those of you who are new to Heritage, we've asked our Senior Vice President of Sales and Distribution, Jacques No, to give you a little taste of what we're all about.
Thank you very much, Kamika. So I'm very happy to be with you guys tonight. So I'm very proud, in fact, to be celebrating this milestone. 25 years of raising heroes in Jamaica. Is it fantastic? So yes, it is. What I would like to do tonight is just to give you a brief summary of who we are and what do we do exactly. The first thing that we want, and in fact our objective and what Kamika and her team are doing, is to make sure that we will help every single Jamaican student to have access to post-secondary education. This is our mandate. So let me tell you how does it work exactly. So Heritage and the team we have in Jamaica assist parents and grandparents to save in US dollars toward their children post-secondary studies. So how does it work exactly? So this is the first part. You save money, and when it's time to go to post-secondary education, so in the year the child turns 18, Heritage returns savings to the subscriber. In their second, third, and fourth year of study, the foundation pays education assistance payments in US dollars directly to students to assist in offsetting the cost of their study, like tuition fees, book, computers, and all other fees that comes with going to post-secondary education. So that's the first part. The second part is that we want to provide a good return on the investment. So we provide our subscriber with a structured savings plan that offer a lower risk while partnering with reputable investment managers to maximize return for our customer. So in fact, subscribers who received their third and final scholarship payout this year benefited from a 4.8% return. So considering the environment, it is very good. So I have to say that we are very proud to have been the first company in Jamaica to offer dedicated post-secondary education savings plan. In fact, since inception in Jamaica, we have returned over 57 million US dollars in savings and educational assistance payments to Jamaican families. In fact, that 57 million US dollar includes $44 million in principal and $13.2 million in education assistance payments. So to our subscriber, thank you very much for trusting us with your education savings. We look forward to working with you in the years ahead to prepare for your children's future education. Kamika, I have to say that on behalf of the entire management team here in Canada, congratulations to you and your team on this achievement, and thanks for your effort. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
Oh, thank you so much, Jacques, and thanks for dialing in from Canada. We appreciate it. I know we're a lot warmer than you are right now, but glad that you were able to join us. I would love to share with you all just a few words from one of our subscribers, a couple, Leon and Audrey Fort, about their experience with Heritage. And we hear this often. They have only one regret, and it's that not starting the plan earlier. They therefore say to parents, please don't let your regret be the same as ours. Saving in heritage plan should begin at the birth of your child. And we really want to connect with you as early as possible. So give us a call, let us know, and we'll make sure that we have someone be in touch with you just as soon as possible. So this, I think, is well, we've had interesting parts of the evening so far, but certainly I hope to take away something from this conversation as well. Last week, we spoke with two amazing moms about ways parents can help their children navigate the new normal, and ways that we as parents can refill our own cups in order to better care for them and for ourselves. Tonight's guest is Lecia-Gaye Taylor. And she's a lawyer and a mom and a well-known face on social media. She has a blog, Just Hitched, Now What?, where she chronicles the ups and downs of life, marriage, and motherhood. Lecia-Gaye Taylor will be sharing with us how she manages to stay on top of work, home life, and maintain her strong social media presence while chasing after an active toddler. For those of us with children under the age of 10 who have the privilege of getting to work side by side with our children, we know that the struggle is real. And I cannot even begin to imagine the pressures facing moms with kinder little ones at home. So Lecia, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, this evening. We're really glad that you're able to make the time.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, I was struggling to unmute my mic.
Oh, we're glad that you're here. And I know you're just like many moms. We all have so many sides, and especially with you being so well known on social media. Tell us, how do you maintain a balance in who Lecia-Gaye is as a lawyer, mom, and a social media influencer?
Okay, so two quick things. One is I am glad I heard Joseph's experience, because I have a plan for Jordan. And so I am really hoping that she's gonna really benefit from it. It's one of the first things I was actually talked into, and I think it's an excellent idea, because I'm sure by the time she gets to that age, education cost is going to be through the roof. So that's Absolutely. A sideline endorsement. Yes.
Thank you. That's great to hear.
So for your question, balance. A long time ago, actually, before I even had Jordan, I did an interview with Paula Ann Portal, who most people will know. She has about, I think it's 4 children. She's so active and prominent in media, and she just seems to do it all. And I remember asking her this very same question, you know, like, how do you maintain balance? And what she said, which is also in a post on my blog, has always stuck with me. You know, she said, balance is such a stressful and elusive concept. And the first thing for us to accept and acknowledge is that there is no balance. Is to think of life more as a pie chart with ways of, you know, different things have different time and effort and attention. And so decide what gets more attention based on the priority that they have in your life. And if you think about it like that, you will accept that as humans, we're not going to be perfect at anything. So we're not going to be a perfect mother. We'll not be a perfect wife. We're not going to be the perfect career woman. And if you are able to accept that you are human and can only do your best, then you'll be able to thrive. And that has been her formula. And for me, every time I find myself being overwhelmed and trying to be perfect or maintain this elusive balance, I go right back to that. So that has been my guiding principle as it relates to finding balance, really.
That's an interesting one, because I imagine at different times in our children's lives, the pie chart would be sliced in different ways, right? And there may be
exactly like now.
Yeah.
Now is a perfect example. I mean, up until March, our lives, or certainly my life, was organized in such a way that we wake up at about 8 o'clock, or by 8 o'clock, 8:30, we drop Jordan off at school, and she stays there until about 2:30, 3 o'clock if he has extracurricular activity where she gets picked up, and then she's at home. And there is a nanny at home, and then we go home later. COVID came and changed the game for everybody, and now there is no school drop off. So it's trying to work with a 3-year-old that has zero attention span and can only be distracted for maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time, who wants to see everything you're doing and wants to be a part of everything you're doing. And suddenly we're now spending 24 hours with our children, which is
we didn't sign up for
different
that.
from what we used to do. Yeah, like I certainly did not. So COVID has given us different priorities. It has forced us to change our, structure. For me too, it has, because I'm in tourism, and that has taken a huge hit from my 9-to-5 job, because we had to close our borders and I had to focus. So it's one of those things that have slowed us down. Also, those of us who are mothers know that it hasn't slowed us down, because we are now juggling working from home, taking care of a child, taking care of our house. It has made it a lot more stressful, especially for women, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in one of your blog posts early on, you mentioned the challenges of like week 2 of adjusting to this whole notion of working from home with your toddler.
Yeah.
I mean, what you shared was totally hilarious, very relatable for all of us who are faced with the same challenges. Now that you're in, I won't even count, maybe 5 months into this.
9 months later.
Yeah, like how is it now? Would you say that you've created more of a manageable routine?
Well, first of all, I went back to what Paula said, and I initially started off with ideas or the vision of being able to work and have that perfect space, and to create one of those, very perfect Pinterest classrooms at home that you see people create and share on Instagram and everywhere. Until I realized that it's not physically possible to homeschool, to do an 8-hour workday, because the time that it requires, especially when you have a toddler, to monitor a toddler is the time that you would be working. And so I've had to change my routine. I also had to change how we operated. We brought in our nanny in-house with us, so that, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that, so that can help. I have days when I definitely go to office. I've changed how I think about teaching Jordan. So now I make better use of opportunities. Instead of thinking of a structured classroom setting, I make use of when she's having a bath. We talk, we count stuff, we look at colors. If I'm preparing a meal, we use every opportunity. If I find letters, I'll look at, for example, a cereal box and say, oh, I can't find the A. Can you show me where is an A? And I help her do that, or have her do that. I try to use opportunities if we're driving to count the cars or to look at the colors. So I'm trying to use, in the nights as I see the photo change, we try to read a book together and teach the stories. And I try to be okay with the fact that I'm never going to be as good as a formal classroom or what a teacher would do, but I'm taking the opportunity to impart. And thankfully, I have said the fact that she's only 3, and whatever she misses, she will catch up in life, because I cannot do it at all.
Yeah, totally. And I think that we all have to kind of accept that it's the opportunities to connect. That's some of what we had talked about even last week in terms of engaging with our kids. So it's really nice to hear you reinforce that, and you're actually doing a lot of those things on a daily basis. That's wonderful. Let me ask, it sounds like from what I've seen that you have a really hands-on partner as well. how would you say this has helped in maintaining some balance as you adjust to this new normal?
Well, it has, sure, and Jordan is a daddy's girl, so it helps that she loves to go hang out with daddy. And I love, for example, right now that she's up and awake and active, I have just told him, please keep Jordan away from me and away from this room. So it really does help to have somebody who is supportive. But that's interesting about COVID and in how it has impacted our family is that it hasn't slowed Garfield down. I mean, in fact, it's the complete opposite. As a police officer, he has been more in demand in terms of work and what has happened. And if you look at research all over, it shows that in COVID, women are disproportionately carrying the higher portion of the burden in terms of doing housework, in terms of caring for children, in terms of working from home. A lot of the times too, because men, you can leave a man with a child and he'll just turn on the TV and leave them. And we're the ones who are fussy about, oh my God, too much screen time. They should be doing this. We should feed them. We should do that. So yes, we need to. So there's that as well. But it really does help because I go into office as well. And sometimes we have to split up, especially in like the past few days when my nanny wasn't here. We have to say, okay, what time is your meeting? You need to come home by this time. I will be out at that time. And we split up the task. So one of the things I will tell females with spouses is, you know, you need to ask if they're not inclined to just give it to you, because you will find yourself feeling frustrated and even resentful if you are doing the lion's share of the work and they don't seem to be taking on any of it at all, especially if you're trying to homeschool and do homework. And we're more inclined to be like that. So, and to nurture and nurture. So we're going to be ending up doing that. But it's helpful to share. And thankfully, Garfield is not somebody who you have to ask a lot. So he's intuitive. He will step in and step up to the plate. And it certainly helps at a time like this. For sure.
Yes, yeah. And so what's really interesting about what you said is a lot of it is intuitive for him, but I think sometimes in terms of keeping our sense of self, we just have to be able to say, this is what I need. We're not good at asking. And so I'm really glad to hear you point that out, because I know it's one thing I need to work on as well. Tell me,
I mean, sometimes as women, we see, you know, we're struggling and we say, oh my God, you should know that you can't step in and you do this, but they're sitting there thinking that everything is okay. So until you say, hello, please help me with this, they may never move.
Yeah. Because we're so good at it. We're so good at it. We make it look easy, right? Yeah, yeah. So I think there's an opportunity for us there for sure. And how would you say then, what is the most challenging aspect of creating in this new normal? How do you make sure that you don't lose your sense of self during this time?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. For me, I think I was on the verge of going crazy at times. One of the interesting things that has happened that has saved me is something that Garfield actually did and started, and that is we purchased a new home and he went ahead and got almost a whole new gym at the new home. And so almost every morning, about 4 days, at least 4 to 5 days, we get up and he trains. He decided that, you know, he's gonna be my coach, so he trains me. And I was like, I was not up for it in the beginning, but it really has helped to save me, because I feel like for that 1 hour I get to actually escape, and as much as it is torturous and I curse him, it really has helped. Because before COVID, I looked forward to going to the gym for that hour to escape. And it's not something, going to a public gym was not something I was willing to do after. So it has really helped. But it really is tuning out. Like sometimes I will literally say, look, I do not want to see Jordan for the next hour.
Give me the
You
space.
take her.
Yeah.
And yes, and he does that. Or I go into office because I realize that even though I may have my nanny here, if I stay home, then is going to find me and hunt me down in any corner of the house. And she's just going to become completely disruptive. I mean, I'm going to lose an entire day. So I go into office when I really need to get things done. I'm escaping everything because I'm just going to be stressed and overwhelmed. So those are some of the things that I do to just, try to stay sane and to just, this pandemic has been so interesting for so many of us. I think for me, one of the added stress is knowing that I have staff members who have had to be laid off, who themselves are not working. They have families depending on them. And so sometimes I am talking to them. We're trying to work through it. We're trying to see how we can help and assist. And so it's not just even the stress of my family. It's also trying to absorb all of that as well, and being there for everybody and being strong for everybody and assuring everybody that, things will get better soon. So you really just have to take some time to try to relax and to try to not let this entire pandemic and situation drive you crazy, especially if you're one of those who have been really severely impacted.
Yeah, for sure. And so, as a fellow working mom, what I'm going to challenge you with this one. What would you say are, a couple of tips that you would say to other moms? This is what will allow you to make it work. Any advice for us?
Yeah, be kind to yourself is where I start. Be gentle on yourself and be kind to yourself. The bars that we set, I'm a planner. I had my 2020 worked out to the T. This is what I was going to achieve. These are the things I was going to do. This is how it was going to work. And then COVID came and changed all of that. And so we have to be adaptable, be willing to change, be willing to understand what is happening, but be kind to ourselves. It's a pandemic. It's something that has happened 100 years ago. Nobody anticipated it. So if we feel like we're overwhelmed and it's too much, we can accept that we're not going to be perfect at everything that we're trying to do right now. That today may be a day that it's just hanging out with my child and I may not get anything done for work today, but at least give thanks for the fact that I got to spend some time with my child. And tomorrow you may have to ignore your child for the entire day to get work done, but you accept that, you know what, I made it up yesterday, or I'll make it up tomorrow with an extra 2 hours. But it's just accepting that. And so not being afraid at this time to ask for help. We just spoke about it, but if there's a spouse in your house, ask them. If you have an relative, somebody who can pitch in, ask, because this is just not the time to try to do everything by yourselves. And take a breather, relax. Those are my key things, really.
Yeah. That's great. I love that you've worked hard to incorporate exercise into your day. You've thought of your whole self and saying to really just take it easy, manage your expectations a little bit. It's funny. I remember one of the big time management things that kind of blew my mind was this whole notion of boulders, pebbles, and sand, and like having to deal with the most important things. If you can get that one most important thing done, everything else will just kind of find a way.
Yes.
Instead of having 10 important things now, it's just one. And one of those things needs to be, okay, I'm going to play Legos too.
Exactly. I've done, I have one main item of my work list that needs to get done. And if I get that done, I'm good.
Big day.
So all the other things, you have to trust. You are right.
Yeah, and then you don't feel like you failed, perhaps, as much as you might, if you can say that you've covered that big thing. So I know that adjusting our expectations, and I guess it comes back to the pie chart, right? The pie chart right now is going to look really different during COVID. and it's for a season.
Exactly.
For a season.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, some really great words of advice. Thank you so much, Lecia, for helping just to put it all into perspective and sharing your experience. Kudos to you as a mom of a toddler, because my 9-year-old on the days at home, we struggle sometimes. So I can't imagine. It's impressed to see that you made it this far.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, the struggle never ends.
Never, never. So with that, I'm going to move into a few words from another one of our long service team members, sales manager Carolyn Sang Downer.
Sometimes the challenges that my subscribers face while saving in the plan threatens their ability to reach their savings goal. But when they realize that we have a fix to help them along the journey, they are so relieved to know that we're not leaving them behind.
So I tend to get lovely remarks like, "You're a godsend," or "I didn't know the plan could do this." I say, you have the need, we have the solution. You have a challenge, we have the fix to help you stay on track.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, for sharing your experience. And, you know, I guess just to say that we're here. Heritage is here. You know, we are here to assist you in terms of planning for your children's education. And we have created this for you in an effort to help support you. So thanks to Lecia and John for sharing their stories tonight. And to all of our subscribers who joined us this evening, I just want to remind you to please check your emails for details of an exclusive draw. We have just one episode remaining, and I have to say I'm going to miss these when they're finished because I'm taking so much away. Please look for us right here next week, Thursday. It's our last one. Not only will we be sharing great content, but you will also have an opportunity to enter your name in our draw for a Samsung tablet. I hope you've done that already for tonight. You can enter tonight by clicking on the link below and entering the special code. Next week, Thursday, and I'm really excited about what we have coming up next on the 26th, we'll be joined by Imani Lee Hall. She's a young agent of change and really just making amazing things happen here in Jamaica already. So a young hero, and she'll be joined by her mom, Dr. Thea Nicole Davis. We're also going to be talking with Elena Diedrich Lynch and Anika Wilson, two mompreneurs who have created amazing virtual communities. And one of the things we'll be talking about is the importance of creating a village. We know we can't do it alone, as Lecia just described. As an added bonus, I have to say Elena is also our Jamaican baby whisperer, so hopefully we can sneak in a few baby questions as well. And I'm really just going to invite you to follow us on Facebook to learn more about the series, to be the first to access our downloadable parent resources. And as mentioned, in addition to sharing our favorite online learning resources, we're working on a compilation of resources from all of our experts, great tips and advice that we hope that you'll take away and refer to again and again. Finally, this series is brought to you by Heritage. I would be remiss if I didn't remind you how to start a Heritage plan or join our team. You just need to call the office at 876-968-1601 or WhatsApp us at 876-537-1648. And we will connect you with a rep who can answer all of your questions. Let me say a final thank you for joining us tonight. Please stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you next week.